Hi, it's Nancy welcoming you to Garden Scroll, and this morning we had to put our sweaters on. It feels like a nice crisp fall morning. Actually, it feels a little bit like a prelude to winter, and we're supposed to have 2 nights that it could drop below freezing, and then we're supposed to be back to the 80s. So I'm guessing that today may be the last day we'll get to take pictures of the garden with the annuals in the garden. I've noticed the last 2 days this has really faded, and I doubt if it'll survive the night. But we had our going away party for the garden, and we've done well with this year's garden, and I will look forward to trying again next year. But there's lots to do still. I would love to, I need to cover all the glass things. I'd love to do that today, but we'll see. I still have to make some room in my house, so I'm going to be inside today trying to make room for some house plants that I brought in and right now are sitting in my living room floor. But I've got to get those arranged in a way we can at least walk through the maze. And I would like to walk around and do a little bit of inventory as far as to look and see what I want to do again the same way and what I would love to change, because this is the perfect time to do that, because we may not have the color here after the frost comes and not really remember just what we had that we would like to try again or what we had that we would like to change. One thing I would definitely like to do again is to use more of the periwinkle, and I think I say that every year, and I didn't find the trailing periwinkle that well until later in the season, but it was a perfect little plant to fill in the holes that didn't make it through the hot part of the season. But I definitely want more of the periwinkle for color, because it just gives you that color. Sometimes it doesn't show up real well until the late part of the season, but that's when you need it the most, when some of the other things like petunias and well, I'm not thinking of them right now naturally, but there's a lot of plants, that just simply do not make it through the heat of summer. I'm hoping that even if the annuals all get taken away, maybe we'll still get to keep our pretty mums. I will want to get some more of the zinnia seeds, but I do have some, and also I can just do a deal of mixed and then plant them. Sometimes I like to see a surprise color in the garden. So these, even though they'll turn brown and I won't remember what color I have that I'm working with, it'll be a nice surprise next spring or next summer when they begin to bloom again. The plan right now is to leave out my decor until my cousin comes to see the garden, just in case there is something here for him to see, and maybe it will give a little bit more of a decorative feel to the garden if there's anything left. But really, the growing season is over, and it's time for everything to get some rest, not only the gardener but everything in the garden. I want to cover this black and blue salvia, maybe not right now, but before a hard freeze comes, I definitely want to get this covered, because I lost it the last 2 years and had to replace it to buy it again, and I would love to be able to save it. If we have a winter that's not so harsh, it will make it through, but lots of times when it stays cold for too long and then goes back and forth from cold to heat, it just succumbs to the elements. And I've actually forgotten if my mums get nipped. I think they may get nipped by the frost too. So we'll see if we have anything left after after the frost, but there are also some that have not opened up yet, so maybe they will have a chance too if it doesn't, like what they call nipping it in the bud. But we'll see. We'll just have to take what nature and God gives us. This little Alternanthera plant did so wonderfully, but this also is an annual, or at least it's not cold hardy. I don't think it's actually an annual, but it's just not cold hardy, so it has to be treated in my zone, which is a zone 7, as an annual. Look at those beautiful Angelonia, the purple Angelonia. We'll have to say goodbye to it till next year and hope we can find some more. Actually, I think I might try to take some clippings of this inside and see if I can save this in a glass through the winter, but I'll see if I get around to that. This is Vinca also, or periwinkle, and I definitely want more of it in the garden. This is the pretty color I was telling you about that stays and stays. Here it is, the end of the season, and we still have beautiful color in the periwinkle, so I definitely want to use more of this, and I think I say that every year. Sometimes I don't find them as readily as others, but if I can find them, I want the garden to be full of these next year. And my lantana doesn't always do well. This one is not really just this one bloom right now, but it has done well this year, very much so, and I've really liked it in this pot, so that might be something to try again. But definitely the periwinkle. And I am still loving this licorice plant, this blue cast green licorice plant with the Dusty Miller, both of them in that same pretty color. It looks wonderful, but I'm going to try to find a different pot to put it in too, because this one just wanted to fade away, or to wilt. It wanted to wilt because it was just too hot for it in this little pot that doesn't have enough depth for it to have enough water, even though it does need to be drained well. And I'll have to see if I can figure out a pot that will do that for me and put it in a different pot. But isn't that gorgeous? I so hate to say goodbye to the pretty strawberry drop coleus. I love this little plant so much because, as you can see, once it gets going, it just keeps going. It just doesn't want to ever stop. But that freeze, if we drop below 32 degrees, it will get it. It will be all brown or black, and it will not have this beautiful life in it. I will miss it so much. And these little pots, I'm going to try to keep succulents in them because all the others just need more water, more depth, more soil. They're just, right now the alyssum is actually looking good in this one, not so much so in the one above it there, but it's looking pretty good. The alyssum shines in the fall. I definitely want to have some of it. I'd like to have some better displays of it because it can really get gorgeous if I have it where it can thrive through the summer, because it doesn't do much until it gets cool. Who could blame it? And here's more of the pretty strawberry drop coleus. I wish I could just keep it all. But today may be its very last day. And I wonder if I could save some of this pretty red bat flower just in a glass in the window, which I don't know. I haven't tried it, and it may not be feasible. And sometimes this does come back from seed, but I don't have a whole lot of luck with it coming back from seed. So Well, I may try that one too, but if I do all this, I'm going to have to get busy. You did save some of my zinnia seeds already and mark them what color they were, because again, all this color may be gone after today. They will just turn a brown and you'll have no idea unless you can remember what color they were. And I have several different places. I can this one because I don't have a lot of other zinnias around it. And look at this pretty cosmos. I want seed from it too. And I can remember that it is, and I can tell just the way the seed looks from it, what it is. And really, I don't care what color it is, it's all pretty. This paler pink and this kind of a magenta, bright pink. And then of course I have the white on the other side of the garden, which is really pretty. After our 2 days of maybe dipping below 32 degrees, we're going to have those 80-degree days possibly, and that's when I need to be out here clipping all these irises back so they'll be ready to go again. As well as over on this side, I would like to get all the peonies clipped back, and hopefully in the spring they'll just be ready to go. I just feel the need to get these one last time because they won't be here very long. Even if they should make it through the next two days, maybe they'll miss that forecast and it'll be wrong and we'll get to keep them longer. That'd be great. But you know, time moves on and there's other things that we need to be doing, so we've got to put the garden to sleep and let it take its rest, as well as ourselves. And of course I'm hoping to get where I have these taller zinnias, I'm hoping to actually have the smaller ones in those pots. And I tried this year, but it just didn't work out for me. So I got these going in it, and I still like them. But I just think they would really look good if they were all these little profusion zinnias growing in these little tiny pots in a big cluster. You can tell we did take out our elephant's ears. I dug some caladiums. I actually don't know where some of them are because I waited long enough that the green part of them died, and I'm not sure where the little rhizome was, so actually, or the bulb, but I'll probably just lose those and have to get some more next year if we get the chance and opportunity to have another garden, which hopefully we will. And these little zinnia seeds are already giving it up, or zinnias, but they still will work for seed, and hopefully I will definitely get out here and get some of these because they have beautiful blooms that I would like to have in the garden again. And this little vinca did not do much for me. I think I may have had it, well, it gets a lot of sun here, but it may not have gotten enough, so, or maybe the pot just needed to be bigger for it to have room to do whatever it needs to do to get its nutrients from the soil and keep watered well. Oh, look, as I'm looking over here, looking at that, I glanced over to this, look at this, and I know it's looking ratty right now, but look at that color and look at that form, how pretty. I definitely want some more of those in the garden. And the little petunias are about played out, but they are another thing, especially the double petunias. Well, I love them all, but these double petunias are just so eye-catching and so pretty. I'll definitely want to use more of those if I can find them, even though they do play out before the vinca or periwinkle does. And again, let's talk a little bit about lantana, or even if we don't talk, if we just look at it, it pretty much says it all. And in this cooler weather, it's looking the brightest that it's been all season. It's looking good, but this may be its last day to look good. And I am my mind is so much on getting done what I need to do that I'm not thinking of all the things I need to make an inventory of what to do next year. But look at this pretty little sedum. I wanted this to fill the whole pot out and not have to put anything else in there, so it would kind of take care of itself in these little pots. But it didn't get big enough to do that, and then I got busy putting all these other stuff in there too, which it looked great doing it that way. I'm glad I did. But I hope someday to just have these full of succulents. And this one is also, it's got the pretty succulent in it, and I hope it will last through the winter and come back. I'll probably try to cover it somewhat with plastic, and still let it get air though, of course, and water and nutrients. But I would like, again, to have these with succulents in them. And here's a fairly good example of what the periwinkle can do. Look, all this color still. I totally depended on this periwinkle and my zinnias, and of course the coleus, for color for my last going away party for the garden. But you know, every season has its glory, and every season has the flower that blooms in that particular season and just shows off, and we just want to enjoy it all. And however scraggly it may be, I had Calabrichoa, the little mini petunias, right up to the end of the season. I'm going to go back just a minute even to see if I can show you these little ones. And we're back around to the pretty white cosmos. I'll definitely want some seed from these. And some more of the pink. I actually had a yellow lantana in with this, and I thought the yellow lantana and this pretty pink and white geranium would just really play well together, but my lantana just did not do much. It is still in there. See if I can get up where you can see that it is, but it just kind of sat there. I don't remember if it bloomed. If it did, it only bloomed a little bit. But I might like to try that one again and see what I could get it to do. And of course I love this Dichondra or Dichandra. It's just such a pretty plant. I love that color. And then how it just, when you get it, it's just the small little size, about like so. And then, but it just keeps going. And then it doesn't go very far until late in the summer when it begins to get cooler, and then it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes, and it's so pretty. I always hate it when it's gone. And I'll probably want to clip this little marigold back so I won't have too many marigolds. But look, isn't it beautiful how it just kind of sat there too until it got cooler, and then it just took off and grew by leaps and bounds, and it's just really showing off today. Maybe it knows it could be its last day to do so. I did get some of this seed yesterday. Of course I want to get more. Look at this pretty orange zinnia, and it is one of the shorter zinnias, but with the full bloom. I think this is called Zahara, And they come in, of course, many colors. And then I want to say some of this for my friend Oma. She was fascinated by the purple, which is usually pretty common, but it kind of doesn't do anything either. You have to plant it in the spring, and then it kind of sits there and doesn't do anything until late summer, and then it just pops. And I've had this redone it several times, and in the summer that beautiful orange coppery coleus looked so good in it, but then it died out, and so I've been trying several other things, and these mums looked great for the party. I don't know if I want to keep them there, but possibly. They look great, and they may be the annual kind though, but I think they are a perennial. And most of my mums come back, but there are some that are just annuals and they don't come back. There's another thing I need to cover with plastic to save it through the winter. Look at these gorgeous verbena bloom. Oh my goodness, it just makes me wish again and again that we had cooler summer so we could enjoy this all summer long. But it just evidently needs a little cooler weather than we have to really do its thing and shine. I need a little cooler weather than we have to really do my thing and shine. And of course that's not counting today's weather, because it's cool today. Cool enough I put my gloves on to do this because my hands get cold. My hands and feet and nose get cold first of all. But it is cool to do a battery change. But I was saying, I wish we had cooler summers and longer falls, because we have so little time to enjoy what takes us so long and such hard work to get to this point. But still, so grateful just to get to have it at all. This little zinnia is, of course, played out, but I'm going to take this one for seed. This is one of those large, flat zinnias that just show off so prettily. The clematis like it cooler, too. They're trying to bloom again also. See, if we had long falls, we could still have pretty bloom in the garden. Oh, I just saw that I had laid some of the verbena seed here, and I need to get those in a little bag and label what they are, because I'll invariably forget, or even forget to get them in. And right here's another great example of the beauty of the periwinkles. Oh my goodness, these look like velvet. They look like red velvet. And then this is another of the little calabachoas that I actually got to say. I know it's small, but I love it anyway. It just adds a little bit to this pot, and it just makes me feel good that I was able to keep it through the season this long. We did take out some hollyhocks that had a disease, and I'm hoping to get it even gets in the soil, and I'm hoping to get it all out so that the next time I can plant some, I'll get some good healthy hollyhocks, but really I don't know when that will be. And let me go up a little closer to this, and I'm sure I've shown it to you before, but I want to show you again. It's just such a beautiful, bright orange. I need to show these to Vicki too. I told her I would, and then I forgot. And they may not be here tomorrow, but I hope they will, and I hope they put down seed to come back next year. And more of the periwinkle, just to show you how well they do. You can tell that the coleus has already been nipped a little bit by the cold. That's a definite for next year, is to get more of the periwinkle for color, for more color in the garden. So I clipped off the pink one too. These are both the flat but huge zinnias, and these are a hybrid zinnia. I'll try to see if I can find what they're called, but I actually bought a seed packet for these, and I don't know if I even have that packet, so I may not be able to tell you what kind they are, but I will look, and I'm definitely saving these for seed right now, and we'll see if they will come back true to this, because you know, most of the times when it's hybridized, they come back to the plant that they were hybridized from, instead of these actual kind of plants. But I may need to find some more of these. These are just so pretty. And look at the difference in the sizes of this these flat huge zinnias, and these are pretty and a pretty size, but these are just so big and boastfully beautiful. And this may be the last time for our little red star impatiens to shine in this strawberry pot. They look so good in it. Oh, look, you can tell this little blacky sweet potato vine got nipped last night, and it did not go below freezing, but it was cold, so they're beginning to succumb to the low temperatures. It'll all be gone. And hopefully we'll have some of it similar next year and some of it even better, and probably make some mistakes, but that's just the way life is, and that's the way the garden is. It's absolutely an example of life itself. It is life itself in the plants. I also love this little coleus, and I would like to make sure I think I got some of this, but I need to make sure that I do before tonight. And I know I need to put hoses away, but I just want to show you this beautiful little mum, this little bright red with a yellow center daisy type mum. Isn't that pretty? And I purchased this little tiered pot late in the season, so they did not get an early enough start to do very much, and yet what they did was very beautiful. And this is another of my favorite color zinnias. These little daisy mums are looking pretty too. They're a paler color, but they're so pretty, so welcome in the fall. This little pot and angel just kept falling down. The winds that we had with our storm, or just the winds period, but they caught this coleus so many times and took it down, so I finally just set it down and just went ahead and put this little angel up here for now. You know, it's all going away, so it won't really matter, but I'd love to fill it up so there's not too many holes in it. And when I moved this little pot over here, I noticed how pretty these yellow marigolds and this little turquoise bird look together. I may want to try to get those colors in the garden somewhere together. I've always thought this pretty little Mexican heather and this turquoise pot look good together. Just a good look at this one, because we'll be saying goodbye to this beautiful color of coleus. I love all of it. And I have loved this little blue floss flower too. I have not had much luck with it till this year, and it has really shown, or really shined. It's looked so good in the garden. I'm so proud of it. had one down here too by this little cherub. But they've done well and I've enjoyed it. And I hope you have too. I feel certain that you have enjoyed it. It's just so pretty. And this again, I'm not sure that this strawberry pot, it's a little different shape. And this, to me, the impatiens don't stand out as much in it. It's pretty, but I think I could figure out something for this to do better next year. We'll see if I can. I'm not sure about that either, but you know, it's always nice to have a plan and an idea of what you want to do, and sometimes it's just so much easier to get those ideas when there's actually something out here than in the spring when everything is bare of color and just a bunch of old dead debris in the garden, and we'll have to get all that out and it'll just be such a chore. But hopefully we'll have some time this winter to just kind of look back and determine and dream. Sometimes dreaming is just so much easier to do than the actual work that has to be done to make a dream come true. But, you know, if we want it done, we just have to do it sometimes. And then there's other times, of course, that only God gives the increase every time. So we'll just have to hope that He will give us a beautiful garden next year, and just thank Him for this year's beautiful garden. And the joy that comes along with it, as well as the work and the fatigue and the heat and insects and all that other stuff. Okay, these little pots. Definitely I don't want a tall zinnia in here next year because it's covered up my little decor most of the season. And I think it would be just as pretty if it had some shorter plants in here. And so I'm going to try that next year. And then this, I actually did, of course, get this, I told you before, but I did get this little stand so that I could put my little squirrel up above this periwinkle, which is a great idea to have. And then, of course, the Penta too. I love the Pentas, and they did not do real well for me this season, but they did well enough that I've enjoyed them. And I may want to do something real similar to this again next year, but to keep the little squirrels up higher and not put them down on the bottom like I had them before, or else leave them on the bottom and put some very short plants here. But because this pot is bigger, I think it would be a good idea to have the taller plants in it, because I think they would do okay. And even as I was saying that, I was thinking, but what about maybe some calabachoa in this pot? That might be just the way to go. I may think about that. And hopefully next year we'll have Bells of Ireland coming up in this pot again. And then they play out a little sooner than some of the plants do. So I will want to go ahead and add some more of the coleus and zinnias in with them again. But I like the way I've got this one set up, I think. I'm sure I do. I may could find something a little better, but maybe not. I like the way it is. We'll just kind of see on that one how it goes. You can see I took in my foxtail lily and just set this little pot up there because I didn't want just this plant stand without anything on it, just in case my cousin gets to see it, which I really don't know if that's going to happen, simply because it is going away. This whole gardening season it's practically over. So that was probably our last time for the ones with the annuals in it, and I've got to save some seed of this yellow marigold. It just shines so pretty. But if you've enjoyed this season's garden, please let me know. And one more time on the alyssum, because see, this is what it does in the fall, and this is just a tiny little piece that barely made it through the summer. But if you can get it to do well enough to last through the summer and get to the point where it can do good when there's a little bit more coolness in the air, it's well worth the effort. And I will want some seed of this, but this is not quite as bright as I thought it would be. You can kind of tell this one down here that it is more, got more of the pink, the bright pink in it. But I'll definitely want to save some seed and give this another try. Please be sure to like and to subscribe to the channel.